How much leeway should a president be given to unilaterally order foreign conflicts?
I think the president has to be given a good deal of leeway, especially whenever you're dealing with imminent conflicts. I mean, in our law, we give the president a lot of power to move troops around, to attack, to counterstrike, especially with it when it's in a 2 to 3 month period. Obviously, we don't want to take the power to declare war away from Congress. Congress has that absolute power. So I do think that we need to be thoughtful before we engage in conflict. But the executive was always the commander in chief, the head of the military, and we don't want 435 people or 535 people determining foreign policy in the same way where one executive gets to. And that's why it's so important who you elect president, because the worst case scenario would be trying to make decisions like this and trying to make it like a legislative decision, which may not get made, involves a lot of compromise. That's a terrible idea. You want one person making the decision. That's a serious decision, but you cannot have endless war without the approval of Congress.
Right. Well, I think that Chris's point is well made in that we need to give the executive leeway to decide initially what conflicts into which the country will enter. That's why he has military advisors. That's why he has contact to any general, any admiral he wants, is to be able to decide these kinds of things. However, Congress, the legislature, does need to do a better job of reining in that authority after the given period that the executive is granted in order to make these decisions. The legislature needs to be the one that makes the decision to engage in a long, drawn-out conflict if that decision is going to be made. The executive branch does not have the authority to unilaterally enter into a long-standing and drawn-out conflict.
And I think when you mention the words long-standing and drawn out, that brings up the point of why the framers made it they gave the Congress the war powers. If you have this entire body of people that may not always come to an agreement all of a sudden, it kind of makes you think, and you have to come to solutions some other way, as opposed to having one person come and decide all of a sudden this is how he or she would like to do it. And so I think that's something that you should consider as well. And maybe there was a reason that we have a deliberate body that has to come to that decision. So
right. It almost favors inaction in its own way, in that it says before you send the troops, before you send people into harm's way, really make sure that 536 people agree that it's the correct thing to do.
Yeah, those are good points.